Welcome to Esports in a Nutshell Weekly, having fun with the world of esports one week at a time. I'm your host, Mark Register, and the guy leading the music division is Brian DiBiagio. We've got a wonderful show for you. We've got the top stories, including ELeague's launch, ESPN and Riot rumors, and Capcom banning Team YP. We've got a rapid-fire list of everything in the space to keep you ahead of the curve. We've got analysis of big questions for the week. We've got highlights from Counter-Strike.StarLadder, ELeague Invitational, Grand Finals, Natus Vincere vs. Virtus.pro, and succinct highlights from the best matches in League of Legends, Dota, and Hearthstone. To wrap it all up, we've got a parody song about the ESPN and Riot rumors from PvP Live in the key of Third Eye Blind's Jumper because it's ridiculous and it's fun to play with it. Now, for this week's top stories, ELeague kicks off this week, and with it, they announced their casters and analysts. There were so many, they had 2 tweets go out. They had a third tweet to announce their first professional esports analyst and player therapist, Tobias Funke, but decided not to make that announcement due to it not looking good on paper. ELeague partners with Faceit to manage their tournaments, signs a multi-year agreement with Twitch to broadcast their competitions, in addition to broadcasting in Asia through their True TV channel. And finally, Turner gives us a look at the construction of their 10,000 square foot esports studio arena over a cool time-lapse video, which is fun to watch. PvP Live releases an article saying they have a source that confirms ESPN and Riot are in talks to broadcast their LCS tournaments on ESPN for up to $500 million. PvP Live's website gets so much traffic from the article, their servers crash. ESPN comments on the story saying, quote, "The story is false. We do not have a deal with Riot Games to broadcast League of Legends," end quote. Riot responds with, quote, "The story is inaccurate. There are no active talks with ESPN at the moment, and we did not have sexual relations with ESPN," end quote. Capcom bans Team YP, but not its players from their Capcom Pro Tour, citing their new rule change that echoes ESL's ban on adult content sponsors. Capcom also reserves the right to ban any sponsor they deem inappropriate because they're Tony Danza, the boss. Some adult content that is still deemed appropriate, vaping and alcohol sponsorships. Team YP responded with hashtag tweets Rise Up, also used in Capcom's promotional material for Street Fighter V, and also responded with, quote, "This is uncalled for and inappropriate," end quote. When news came to the street of Avenue Q, they responded, quote, "The internet is for porn. Sorry, Kate," end quote. Luckily, the head of EVO, Joey Kuehler, said Team YP is of the same creed and will show them love and everything with arms wide open. Team YP expressed they felt the same way and would show them everything with everything wide open. And now, here's the rapid-fire rundown of everything that's happening in esports to give you a table of contents if you're feeling scholarly, or a Cliff Notes if you're feeling, nah. Yahoo launches their esports app. Apex Gaming hires recently retired player Crumbz as head coach. Vex Noxon buys Team Dragon Knights and their LCS challenger spot. Counterlogic Gaming said they are shutting it down on their Call of Duty team. Pac-12 approves Pac-12 networks to commence esports competitions with Pac-12 universities. Reddit posts a Far Side cartoon that after 20 years went from a joke to a reality. Kansas's Pratt Community College announces a fall launch for their esports team led by head coach Kenton Small. Robert Morris University hosts their high school esports invitational this weekend. If you're in Chicago, you should go. Gordon Hayward says he wants in the esports game and wants to run it like a sports team in an interview with IGN's Kevin Knock. Echo Fox partners with VFD Esports, led by Eli and Daniel Desch, for marketing and brand partnership, integration, and sponsorships. Tencent is in talks with SoftBank to acquire their 73% stake in Supercell, makers of Clash of Clans. Supercell may veto the deal given SoftBank gives Supercell full autonomy. After buying League of Legends team Elements, FC Schalke announces plans to add an Overwatch and Dota 2 team to the roster and will not delve into Counter-Strike as it's not a right match. Canadian League of Gamers launched the first professional esports league in Canada named Northern Arena, broadcasting normally and in VR using Vantrix's 360 streaming virtual reality infrastructure. So you can watch from live vantage points like front row center, concession stands, and bathroom lines. The free Leffen petition to give all esports players legitimate sports player status so they can get P1 visas hits 100,000 signatures. So at the very least, we will get an official response from the White House. As Kotaku points out, we all hope it's as witty as the response to the building of a Death Star petition to help provide new jobs. 100 Thieves player Nelson writes a twit-longer talking about how awesome he is and how terrible his teammates are, and he'll be looking for another team. Then his teammate, who we just talked about how terrible he was, Johnny, writes another twit-longer saying the team is not doing well, that he was dropped from the team, and Nelson, the guy who is trash-talking the team, will return to take his place. Chinese League of Legends player Otto is fined by his organization, Saint Gaming, for insulting Edward Gaming's fanbase on Chinese social media site Weibo, calling them, quote, dogs and sons of dogs, end quote. Perhaps he meant female dogs. Otto gets fined 2 months' salary, and 2 staff members get fined 1 month's salary for not controlling Otto. They responded with, "No, you lock it up." Are the big questions of the week keeping you up at night? Well, don't you worry. We're going to answer those big bag questions of the week right now. So let's get started. Canadian League of Gamers launched the first professional esports league in Canada called the Northern Arena, broadcasting in VR using Vantrix's 360 streaming virtual reality infrastructure so you can watch from live vantage points of view. What's better, emulating going to an esports event using a VR headset or watching an esports event on TV? You're going to get more entertaining visuals from traditional broadcasts that you can watch on a screen thanks to dozens of camera angles and quick cuts. VR is difficult to cut different angles between different camera angles. Fade to black and back from black is the only non-jarring transition between perspectives. But that's not what VR is about. VR is about the in-real-life experience. Emulating you sitting in a chair or getting out of your chair with the rest of the crowd around you watching on a big screen. Well, so you're still watching a big screen. The other way of doing it is being in a virtual command station where the broadcast screen is in front and center. But if you want stats or animations of champions or anything you can dream of, something wild when you get a little bit of restless, a little bit angry, and you know you've got to get out and cry, just turn around with bright eyes. VR is going to start tonight. So, who's telling the truth in the PvP Live, ESPN, and Riot PR half-truth volley? PvP Live was lucky enough to have a source approach them with the information that ESPN and Riot Games were in talks with broadcasting rights, which is not a surprise. However, the price given doesn't specify what the deal entails, and there was no deal made, only a deal talked about in rough draft form. Stories like this help draw the line between journalism outlets and news outlets. Journalism is expensive, time-consuming, and even if you have a great story, if you can't back it up with at least 2 reliable sources, you can't put it to print. News is cheaper, faster, and can publish whatever is going to drive views to their site, which is a vehicle for advertising, and there's nothing wrong with that. But PvP Live's story is not out of line, as moves are being made to build connections between Tencent and ESPN. Back in February, Disney's ESPN and Tencent, the parent company of Riot Games, drew up a deal that ESPN would give Tencent exclusive Chinese rights to NBA and NCAA basketball, soccer, and X Games with commentary and debate, and plans to expand to more sports, all to be distributed through Tencent's platforms, QQ Sports website, which now has a dedicated section for ESPN, and WeChat Weixin, which includes a pool of hundreds of millions of viewers. What's the value add that ESPN provides for esports? Capital. They've got gobs and gobs of money. Even though their profits are slowly receding, they still have billions to make esports as commonplace as sports in everyone's water cooler discussions. Audience, think about how many places you walk into that have ESPN on in the background. People who would never watch esports all of a sudden are voluntarily subjected to esports in their periphery view, and if their date doesn't go well, they may focus their attention to that video game on the screen. Conformity. Why didn't anyone shout out "The Emperor has no clothes"? Because most people go along with the mass opinion. So if you get the ESPN herder to move his sheep into the green esports pastures, they will follow. Story. Everyone loves a compelling story. And now, with their growing team of journalists, editors, and producers, they are giving us more of a grip on storylines, making the content more enjoyable. Team YP's recent drama with ESL and now Capcom seems to garner them more media attention than just a regular sponsorship. Is this intentional or a byproduct of the situation? It's an intentional byproduct of ESL and Capcom's Team YP ban. Drumpf YP is a product of our changing media outlets. Stories about Drumpf YP sensationalism has infiltrated journalism by means of providing high returns for low costs. By Drumpf YP orchestrating situations and saying ridiculous things that are too good to pass up for media outlets, they effectively create a national ad campaign at the cost of taking out an ad in the local newspaper. It's smart. And we will continue to feed the Drumpf YP beast until we eventually grow tired of it, which may be a long time. Heck, maybe even 4 to 8 years. Well, that was insightful. Thanks, May. Let's get to the good stuff, the games. From Counter-Strike.StarLadder ELeague Invitational Grand Finals, Natuswinkere vs. Virtus.pro, fighting with pistols, AKs, and MAC-10s. Get it. HLTV has Na'Vi ranked at number 2 and Virtus.pro at number 6, so in theory, Na'Vi should win. Let's see what happens next. Map 1, Round 1. Neo, through the eye of the needle with a pistol and his impeccable aim, hits Edward, wounds seized, reloads, then finishes seized. Round 3. Snacks in a 3-on-1. Headshots Zeus, who drops the bomb. He relocates for a better defensive position as Flamey charges him and gets 2 to the chest, and he's out. He reloads, and without the bomb plant, Snacks enjoys the victory. Round 5, Snacks plays peekaboo, but Seized finds him. Bialy in a 2-on-1 hits Edward, circles around Seized until he lands his final blow. Round 8, that rug really pulled the room together, did it not? F&A. And this guy peed on it. Donnie, please. Round 10, Pasha up and over on Seized. Round 13, Edward in a 2-on-1 pops Bialy as he jumps down from his room with a view. Edward smokes Snacks out and pops him up on high. Round 14, Seized. Oh, check your 6, buddy. Pasha picks up 2 more for a triple kill for the round. Round 16, Flamey recoups from the flash bang bang, boom, headshots Pasha, wades through the smoke, gets Bialy's right flank, Neo, who is lined up perfectly, then cleans up Snacks to get the quad kill for the round. Round 20, Neo creeps up on Zeus. Zeus wins the Creeper Award, switches gears to being the firing squad, executing Bialy and Taz against the wall, wrapping up with Snacks, and his previous kill gives Zeus the ace for the round. That's 5 kills. Round 25, Edward, with the quick reflexes, diverts his eyes from the flash, and then goes back and takes out 3 Virtus Pros in 4 seconds. Virtus Pro takes map 1. Map 2, round 7. Hey, check out how good I look with my sniper rifle. Before Seized kills me. Round 15, Flamey gets his sight back in time to hit up Neo, Taz, Pasha, Snacks, and Bialy, winning the round with a little help from his friends. Round 17, Pasha, like a Zen master, walks calmly into the arena, killing Zeus, who's still got the bomb planted, but he keeps walking forward to take out Seized, and then finally Guardian around the corner, taking the round for a 3-1 clutch. Round 24, Neo and Edward start singing Springsteen, "This gun's for hire." We're just dancing in the smoke by Neo. Navi takes map 2. Map 3, round 18. Virtus Pro lines up their bum-bum-ba-da-ba barbershop quartet, all for little old Edward. Seriously, that was mad impressive. Round 19. Pasha from the low ground takes Edward and Flamey, preps up, and knocks Zeus out of the park for the triple. Round 26, Flamey is the last man on Navi, and then he was no more. Virtus Pro takes the round, the map, and the StarLadder ELeague first place prize of $50,000. Congrats, gentlemen. Now, here are highlights from Dota, League of Legends, and Hearthstone with the musical backing of Brian DiBiagio.
Pushes around the green, see up top to make the jump onto Ditchera. 4 heroes of OG were watching him up for that full laning portion as he farmed at the wave, and there was just no response from Navi. And to be fair, with that amount of health points, you just don't have time to respond. General jumps in, gets the call onto Miracle. Can OG come around and help him? It doesn't look like they can. Miracle falling low. They should have gets the clutch and the slide by from Miracle. Chops down on Axe Artstyle. Chopped down by No-Tail, and Miracle, he lives. Turns around, gets a double as he shack grabs.
Starstorm on a hero, even these two can die.
Yeah, General can get the call. Oh, okay. Jump call onto 2, the Weaves leg down, where's the follow-up? There it is, the arrow onto Moon, the first dunk, and they find No-Tail as well. There's a buyback from the Slardar to get himself back into this one. They can't kill No-Tail, and now they're going to be careful. Ditchera frozen up, doomed as well. No chance of a surrender from this man. The burst from Miracles will bring him down, and No-Tail still alive on the sidelines. Looking for General, he gets Shallow Grave Dug. Suneko trying for the TP out. Is he going to make it? The Infernal Blade comes down upon his head. General taken down as well. It's a double kill for Miracle.
Attack like the Lifestealer or the Slardar.
Oh, Dandy hits an arrow, jumping forward by Moon, and jumps straight back in onto them. Actually taking a lot of returns over there with the Blade Mail. Crimson Guard comes out, fly with the Ultimate on the sidelines. Artstyle down, they get the dunk off onto the Doom. No-Tail trying to go in onto Ditchera, but actually climbing up at the moment. Miracle jumps in, ready for the choppy. In comes the Shakram, moves forward, bringing Ditchera down. General's going to fall as well. Oh, he actually got the dunk off. Oh, that tipper chain. Watch out. Here comes Miracle as Suneko. Good job getting yourself back to base. It's not going to happen. It's a 4th kill for OG. Maybe make that a 5th. Oh! With the smoke, General slides in, gets the jump off. They catch out Moon. The impetus for the sidelines. Moon falling low and he's gone. No-Tail's trying to move in, focusing onto Denny. They're moving Denny out of the fight with the Grave as well to keep him alive. Ditchera is going to get used up for the time being. Denny's still alive. The Doom may just tick him down. There'll be a buyback from General. Denny falling low. They'll take him down. 2 down, but at the same time, they've killed 2 on OG. General's still alive on the front line. Controlling crit from the sidelines. Artstyle with the impetus. The dunk down for General. They'll find themselves a 3rd. OG maybe losing a little bit too much. They've lost Fly as well. It's only Miracle left alive here. What can he do on his own? Playing his way around. Oh, he missed the chain.
No, he got mini stun. He got mini stun from the poison touch. Oh! I guess Artstyle still hits kind of hard, but Miracle is just unbelievably tanky at this point.
On goes the shield. And there goes the space here, allowing them to go for this reaction. At the same time, they're trying to find the jump in Miracle. They're returning out. General in the middle of it all has the blade mail out. Is a player, can he actually do this? Look how quickly this Axe dies to the Power Miracle. There's an Ultra Fly coming in. Ditcherard trying to fight up, but he's down as well. 2 dead on Navi, a buyback from General. It looks like it's going to be a dieback. Actually gets one dunk, can't get himself in a wall, but Arsenal still trying to do it for the team. Gets himself a double kill, turns his attention towards Fly. Can he get this Crystal Maiden kill? Oh, yes he does. But there's 4 dead on Navi. Miracle destroying them all. It's GG. And OG are your champions once again, second time in a row here.
But look at the rest of the mini-map. There's a challenge. SKT are looking to come in. Afromu temporarily silences Faker, and Duke throws down the verdict. Afro's going to go down. Wishful by just a couple seconds, and Wolf has arrived at the tidal wave. Now Smithy's in trouble. Lamstress will buy time. Petrifying Gaze stuns up multiple members of SKT. Everybody's on the respite. They get the heal, but it's Bang that finds the looking for the face check. Faker's found Afromu and has taken him down. The tidal wave locks up Huhi. Petrifying Gaze not going to be enough to matter. Phenomenal all series long. Oh, Doshan's just going to get cut down. Blank is coming in from the side. There's some support from Huhi, but it won't matter. Vengeful Maelstrom and Sap Magic buys some time. Huhi's used the Petrifying Gaze. They've not got a kill. Blank body blocks the shot, and Faker runs for his life. The poison's not going to be there. Trap Magic will not be enough. Smithy gets a Lamb's Respite. Buys some time with the Hex Trigger Shield as well. And Duke is tanking up everybody. Bang! He's on a trap! He manages to get one before going down. Huhi is dead. Stixay's got red buff, and if he can find some slows, maybe can get more damage. SKT with a small misstep. They overextend. Duke looking for the stun. Stun Stixay against the wall. The silence onto Duke. Stixay 90 calibers away. Continues to chase. Duke's got himself one. Now Stixay's got between 3 members of SKT. That's a double. That's a triple. Duke's looking for the quadra kill, and it will be secured by Faker.
Damage to all of those minions, effectively wiping them off the board.
Yeah, and the amount of dragons in this deck is actually quite small. There's 2 Azure Drakes, and those are the only other dragons in the entire deck. There's not even any at the top end. So this is actually quite tough for Nosam because he knows the deck inside and out. Does he think that there's an Azure Drake in the hand? I guess he can't really play around it either way.
Yeah, he just has to like go for it. Hope that it's not there. Now he sees the bad news.
It looks like he's going to realize it.
Yeah, he realized it now. He is nodding. There's the Mola Strike for 6, and the Pirate Warrior coming through once again.
Yeah, and that's just the strength of the deck, despite, you know, a Ancient of War coming down on effectively 8+7. That's 15 damage that he's going to put on the face. That's insane.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
This is ridiculous. When I saw this deck list for the first time, I wasn't sure, like...
And I sort of painted the picture of Nostam's win today. He's had to play already 3 matches, I believe, this morning. One of those players was Just Saying, who he beat 3-0, who also had a control lineup. That's what this deck is targeted at, and Nostam goes up to a 2-0 lead.
I feel about this as well. This one swipe on a... Oh, he's just gonna go for it. Oh my goodness. This is so aggressive, but the Forbidden Healing is there. So I think this is actually gonna backfire quite horribly. Because those minions on the board are going to trade for the minions that Nostam's like it.
And he still has so much damage in the hand, but this leaves him... I mean, Dwayne is just sort of like one card away from like securing this game. A Humility, an Aldor Peacekeeper.
I can't help but to think that if he was to draw either the Humility or the Aldor Peacekeeper, the game would back into the game. And that's a heartbreaking for Nostam. He knew that if there was no Reno, the game would have ended just there with that swipe.
That's it. We hope you learned and laughed a little. And here's a song on the key of esports because it's all a game and this is us playing with it. I wish you would give me news that I can prance. You could cut ties with all the lies that you've been giving me. And if you do not want to be my source again, I would understand. I would understand. You gave me news that crashed my site. Service scared of the traffic fight. That was freaking cool. But ESPN denied. What a shame. We don't have a deal with Riot Games to broadcast LCS. Well, everyone knows that's not all the truth, but it hurts my credibility. I wish you would give me news that I can print. You could cut ties with all the lies that you've been giving me. And if you do not want to be my source again, I would understand. I would understand. Well, if the news is all about Donald Trump and the stupid shite that makes me want to jump, I think we get a pass. And if there is some truth to what you said, I never thought it would come to this, and I want you to know that once you said put PvP in bloom just for a week, could you be a source again? I wish you would give me news that I can print. You could cut ties with all the lies that you've been giving me. And if you do not want to be my source again, I would understand. I would understand. Have a great week, everyone.